Hello world, what you knowin'? So saw an ad in our next door neighborhood app. A woman was looking for a plant stand, a stair step style plant stand to fit a specific corner in her apartment, and she was taking bids for this particular job, and I offered to do it for free, just utilizing pallet boards. And went over and talked to her, and I got some dimensions, so we'll go ahead and see how this turns out. All right, so here's what she's looking for. Kind of evolved. Her name is Sharon, and she wants a stair step planter shaped kind of like this, and her dimensions are pretty simple, certainly attainable. But she does want it to be dual-sided like this right here. Initially, we're talking about splitting it down the middle so she could have two, but I think I'm going to keep it together, and that way everything matches out. And it's not going to be that big, but it's going to be about 36 inches this way, 12 inches at the top. She only wants it to be 12 inches deep to fit her space. And the runners and the steps are going to be 8 by 6 by 8 by 6 by 8, and let's see here, I think that's about it in terms of the dimensions. And I guess I have to work out how I want to frame it and do the build, so let's see what happens. Now, I've already torn apart some pallet boards to get ready for this project, so I'm going to go ahead and plane those down, and we'll see what happens. I might be able to use those. We'll see. But I'll go ahead and get planing. What I think I'll do is I will rip these down to about, I don't know, 1.5 1 3/4 inches. And that will be the size of our frame that we'll put in here. And I'm trying to decide if I just want to have the decorative look of the mitered corners going all the way around this, which I think I'll probably do, just because I'm silly like that. All right, so we'll rip these at 1 3/4 inches. 1 3/4. There we go. One inch and 3/4. Pieces that I ripped down to 1 3/4 inches, and trying to figure out how much wood I actually need. So I'm calculating everything on this side times 2. So you got 36 and 36 times 2 is 72. Well, I guess not everything. I just kind of, and my 8-inch pieces, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So 8 times 12 is 96, and blah blah blah. Just figuring how many pieces I needed to frame it out. That's 360 inches worth. I measured this already. I got 437. So I should have enough to complete this project, unless I really screw up on my measurements, which I really often do. I just don't post that part. Let's see what happens. I'll work from the top down, so I'll knock out my 12-inch platform on top first. So I'll go ahead and cut in 2 45s right here. And then as I continue down, I'll just go ahead and reference my little drawing here to make sure my angles are cut in the right direction. And I always want to make sure I keep track of what is facing out on these boards, because all surfaces are not equal. Want to pick the nice ones. Here's an example of that. So here is the side that I ripped, and that's nice looking wood. Here's the side that I did not rip. And if I was doing another project where I wanted to have some nail holes or something to kind of make something look a little more rustic or unique, I'd go ahead and use this side. However, so when I cut this, I want to have this side facing out and this side on top, right? So I'm going to want to cut it like this right here. And that way I can butt up my other piece of this on this side. And then I'll go ahead and measure 12 inches over here and I'll cut it this way. And that way, it'll be a good top platform piece. Okay, so we have one end cut at 45. So the next end, we'll go ahead and we'll measure that at 12 inches right there. Give that a mark. And then we'll grab our square. And then we'll measure off of that mark 45 degrees in. And let's cut it. Exactly the same size. This will be our top piece. Now let's measure our 8-inch step. And we need 12 of those. All right. Got the platform, a 12-inch platform. Now we'll do an 8-inch cut right here. This side right here will be 8 inches. And it'll be shaped kind of like a polygon. And I need 8 of those, so let's go. Well, let's see what we got here. So we got the platform. We got a couple of sides right here. I'll be cutting some 6-inch pieces out to go right there. But first, I'll keep going with the 8 inchers, but I want to knock out my 36-inch pieces because I need the long ones for that, and I'd hate to get too far into the project and not give myself that opportunity. So let's go ahead and cut out some 36 inchers and have those ready to go. How do I put a block on there? The whole world is saying, Brett, why don't you just use a block to cut this? So now we have a block set up here. What do you call that? A jig? A jig. Okay, so I got my jig in place here. So now I can go ahead and just keep cutting these at 8 inches, and then I'll go ahead and set one up for 6 inches. Why did I not think of that sooner? See, I'm almost done with the 8 inches, and now I got my, actually I just got one more piece to cut. Okay. Actually, I need 4 more, so let's go ahead and use our little jig and cut 4 more. Now, here's one of the reasons we like to reference our pictures. Keep you from making mistakes. See, the last one right here is actually cut with posing 45s, whereas all the other ones have 45s that are perpendicular to each other. So when you take a look at what you got here, there's that part. We'll do our 6 inches, and that'll match up just fine right there. We'll have our 6 inches, that matches up just fine right there. But you get down to your 36 incher and whoa! Bass words. So let me go ahead and cut out some new 8 inchers and see how it looks. Actually, we know how it's gonna look. It's gonna look great, but we're just gonna fix a mistake I made. Well, I guess we'll see how this turned out here. That's 8 inch, pretty close right there. All right. That'll take care of those ones. Just have 2 more to go. Now I'll do 8 6 inchers. I referenced my drawing, and I know that all 8 are going to be the same polygon shape. Okay. So we want the nice part facing out. Nice part facing out. All right, and then we'll have that. The nice part facing out. Oops. Okay. These right there. All right. Well, I guess that's the idea right there. Okay. I think that'll be cool. Let me knock out a few more 6-inchers. Okay, so it looks like everything is lining up pretty good. And so we got our 36 inches, 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. That's 24 plus 12 is 36, and that's why this turned out as nicely as it did. So let's see here. How do I want to connect those? Do I want to mar it up with a drill screw, or should I just glue and tack it in with brad nails? What do you think? What do you think? Let's see how this turns out. Got my glue. Got my nailer. I'll go ahead and put a little bit of glue right here. A little bit of glue right there. Line this up. I'll go ahead. Make sure you watch your fingers. Watch those fingers. Couple there. Couple of brads right there. And that should hold it in place, right? I'll go ahead and do the same thing right here. Line up my corners the best I can. Make sure I watch my fingers. Okay, these are the 1.5 inch nails. 1.5 inch brads. And this is a nice soft wood, so it just goes right on in there. You don't end up wasting a whole lot of brads. I'll just go ahead and we'll just keep on going. See how this turns out. Feeling pretty optimistic so far. Okay. That one popped out. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. So this one decided to pop out. We can't have that. I'll go ahead and use my vice grips here to yank it out. There we go. Got her just like a bad tooth. Let's go ahead and finish brad nailing this thing together. Let's keep it going. You know what, that went together so nicely. Better stop what I'm saying. But yeah, why clamp it? It doesn't make any sense. So I'll go ahead and put this to the side and I'll knock out the other one. I'll see you in a few. So now according to our diagram, we need to do 12 inches with the 90 degrees because those will be the the parts that are going across and joining the stair step. All right. I usually have such a hard time making decisions, but we'll go ahead and go 9 inches on this. That way our frame dimensions will be 12-inch wide. And if I have a little bit of an overhang on there, the furthest out, the longest this will be is 13 inches. And a jig is made. So I can go ahead and just start knocking these out. 9 inches a piece. And I need 12 of them. Okay, I threw some 2-inch brads in here, and we'll go ahead, put a little bit of glue on here, just a touch, and I will line up the corners just like that. See if this goes through. Of course it went through, Mr. Dubier. Don't probably want to have a little extra oomph right there. Oh yeah. Okay. So, got that one, and we'll do this one. Meg just came out with blueberry, apple, banana smoothie. Cheers.
Cheers.
Mmm. Delicious. Okay, Sharon, here's the frame so far. I went ahead and just made them one piece. So, took some 2x4s and I ripped them down to 1 3/4 inches. I mitered the corners because I didn't know if those were going to be visible or not, and as it turns out they're not going to be, so it's really no big deal. And got the framework going, so we can go ahead and lay down our stairs on a riser, stair, riser, platform, riser, stair, riser, and then I'll figure out how I want to put this, and I'll have like a little 1/2-inch lip. The stairs can be coming over about a 1/2 inch further in the frame on each side. And I think that'll look pretty nice. What do you think? Oh. Well, we'll go ahead and plane some boards for the stair step planter we're making. Gloves, safety glasses. Okay, so I don't have a joiner to square up all my edges and everything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move my fence up to my saw blade, and then I'll run my boards along this to try to, maybe clean them up a little bit. I'll go ahead and I'll give myself a little bit of space there to clean them up. And without further ado, okay, so all these boards have at least one side plane to them. And I'm hoping that I have enough for the job. Woo! A lot of these pallet board slats have a pretty decent side that's flat, and then they have a side that's kind of funky and wonky. So I'll cut the side that's flat, and then I'll line up the side that's a little bit wonky, and I'll cut that going against the fence, and just I'll just trim it. I'll get away with as little as possible. Okay, now that doesn't mean that these are perfectly square, because they're not. It just means that they're a little bit more square and a little bit more cleaned up than what they were. And when I put them on the project, we'll try to mix and match and get as a gap as possible as we line these up. Excuse me. Okay, so one thing that I hate to do is measure. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll line up our side pieces here. Do a quick mark. Actually, you know something? I wonder if I should do the risers first, and that way when you look at the side, I wonder if I should miter those. Yes, I will. Thank you for that moment of silence to let me figure that out. Okay, we'll see how this goes. I'm going to go ahead and this is my nice side. This is my bad side. Got to make sure this is facing the frame. So I'll cut this like this. What in the world? Who put that there? Who in the world put that there? Who did it? Who did it? There we go. All right. Going back to 45 degrees, 45, 45. And give this a nice little cut. All right, so got our nice side right there. That'll be in the front. And then this will be against the frame. And we'll go ahead and put this against the frame. And we'll line it up with the edge. And I'll get my measurement on this side. How about we take a look what I'm talking about here? Okay. Yeah, I talk about things and it doesn't even sound right to me. So anyhow, we'll go ahead and put our inner 45 right there along the frame. And I'll come over here on this side and I'll mark it right here. And that's where I'll cut. And I'll cut it and make sure that my angle comes out this way. And that way I can line up this front part. And that'll look a lot better than just having something squared off. At least I think it will. Maybe it'll look like garbage. I don't know. But we'll see. Okay, so we'll cut this right here. Make sure we cut it outside my line so I don't short it. Okay. See how that fits. that side. Line up this side. Okay, I think that's going to work out pretty good. And what do you think? Should I tack it as I go and glue it? Glue it and tack it? Yeah, I think I'll glue it and tack it as I go. So, a little bit of glue. Hello. Glue. I'll put some down here too. Why not? I have something to put it on. So why not? Make it a little bit stronger. Okay. I'll go ahead and put it up. Boop. And I got the 2-inch brads in there right now. Don't need 2-inch. But that's all I've got. I ran out of 1-inch. I love my 1-inch brads. They're just so nice. They're just so nice, by God. Put that right here. Okay. And then this one right here. Fancy? Fancy? Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Go ahead and drop one right here. Maybe one right here. One right here. Woo! Sturdy. I might just leave it like that. No, I can't leave it like that. Okay, let's go. R45 on this, and again, want to make sure the nice part's facing out. Got the ugly part, the nice part. Don't get too far ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put in a brace from here down to here, and that way I can attach my boards going across, so I don't have what I like to call ugliness right here, because these boards aren't exactly perfect, and that'll just make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. In your calendar, I'm actually measuring something. So this looks like it's about 20 and, was that 3/8? 20 and 3/8 on this side. I wonder what it is on the other side. Hey, it's about 20 and 1, 2, 3. What the heck? Who measured this? Okay, now because I have so many varying sizes and colors, I want to mix it up, and I have to go with the longer pieces to fit this part of the planter. And oddly enough, I have one that actually fits perfect. So all I got to do is come over here and cut that. Where's my pencil? Where is it? There it is. Pencil. And make sure this side is lined up the way it ought to be lined up. And it's lined up quite nicely. I think that's my New York accent right there. Right, not a bad cut. So we'll tack this and glue it in place, and then we'll go ahead and just finish off the side and see how it looks. Okay, so here's where we're at so far. Just getting all the sides up. Got the risers on this side on. And basically what I'm doing is measuring from this point to this point, cutting my 45s, and then I'm fitting it in there. And sometimes they fit great, and sometimes they're a little bit off. And I think this one might be a little bit off too much, so I'll go ahead and recut this one. But we're getting her. I think it looks pretty good. Well, how about this? Of course, we'll be sanding her down, and then we'll get the steps put on this platform. And I need to decide how I want to do that, but I'm pretty pleased. I think it's coming along pretty good. Okay, so We have all the sides put on, and we are going to go ahead and put the steps on there. And I've got my measurement is just 14 inches across. I've got 3 long pieces that I pilfered from pallet boards a while back, and these are going to be great because I have them all planed down to the same dimensions, and I have one edge that I cleaned up, so I'll go ahead and cut these down to 14 inches, and I'll make my little jig. I only need 12 of them, and I have enough wood to make 14, so hopefully I don't screw up. Let's go ahead and get this sucker going. Okay. We set those on there like that. Like this. And then up here going across like that. Alright, I'll go ahead and rip a piece from the top here. Determine what I want that to be. And I need to decide, do I want to router or do I not want a router? That's the question. We'll see. Good morning, world. It's day number 2. And I'm gonna go ahead and do some routering on this here, on the steps. And I'm trying to decide what would be a good routed finish. And initially I was gonna round the corners like this. And I thought to myself, well, wait, maybe I'll go ahead and try something a little bit different and do something like that. And that would be this bit right here. So I'll pull out my bit that rounds the edges and throw this one on there. And maybe I'll go ahead and do a test run on a scrap piece. Maybe not that scrap piece. And see how it turns out. We'll see. Okay, so in preparations to router, I set up a couple of staging areas to hold my pieces of wood in place. And that way when I router, they won't move around. So this will get the front of the face. And this right here will hold it for the ends. So let's see how that works out. Figure out how to hold this thing. One thing I kind of wonder about is, should the routed part be on the top or the bottom? I was thinking about putting it on the top. That's why I used the finish side. Maybe it'd look better if it was just on the bottom, like a mantle. I like that better. All right, try that. That's the top. I increased the depth of the router bit on the wood, and I think that looks much better. I'm gonna go with it. I need 6 just like this, and then I'll do 6 with just the sides. So everything's routed, and I got everything in place, and this is essentially what it'll look like without the stain. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in the holes with a little bit of sawdust and glue, and then we'll sand her down, then stain it. Okay, so I do happen to have some old wood filler here from my last project. I'm going to use that to go ahead and fill in some of the larger gaps. There aren't that many, so I'll go ahead and fill that in, and I'll come back after this all dries and I will fill it, or I'll sand it all down, call her good. But yeah, you just can't have these big old mitered cracks, you know. Can't believe I let that one slide, but I did. So we'll go ahead and fill that in. Actually, I can believe it because, you know, that's the way I roll. Not as careful as I should be, but I think that'll look okay. And then I'll be hitting all the brad nail holes as well. And because I'm not trying to show off all the imperfections of this wood, I'll go ahead and fill in a bunch of the nail holes. Just try to pretty it up a little bit, just a little bit. All right, so we'll do that all the way around. It'll take a little while. I'm not going to bore you with all that. Just bore you with about, how about if I say we bore you with about that much. Put the steps on, so let's we'll glue, and then we will brad these down. I put some 1 inch and 1.5 inch brad nails. I found some loose ones out there, so we'll see if I have enough. So I'll go ahead and I'll glue and brad this one in, and I'll put that one on, and I'll make sure these edges are lined up nice. And I'm gonna eyeball this and make sure that the overhangs are pretty equal. All right. See here. Too much talking. Come back and put some wood putty in our holes here, and we'll come back and sand it a little bit later. Brad nail's gonna show a little bit of silver on top, so just grab yourself a punch and a hammer, tap her down a little bit. This is where I was losing my air pressure, so I had a couple of spots. All right, now fix that, and I can finish filling in holes. So let's do some sanding.
Okay, so right now I'm using the 120 grit, and I'm trying to get irregular surfaces to match up a little bit better, trying to hit all the areas that look like there might be slivers, and cleaning up the wood paste that I put on here, the wood filler, and just cleaning up all the edges. And I'll go back and I'll hit it with some 220 grit to really smooth it out. It should be a pretty decent project by the time I get done, but there's a lot of sanding involved. So I'm not going to bore you with that. I'll see you later. Well, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of difference on the film here, but I have evened up some of these slats right here, cleaned up some of the splinters sticking out, cleaned up the corners. What else? Oh, cleaned up all the wood putty. And I'm going to go ahead and hit it again with some 220 grit. I used 36 to get the more difficult parts, and then I used the 80 grit, and then I used the 120 grit, and now I'll do a final with the 220, and that's about as fine as I'm going to go. And then I'll be ready to blow it off and stain it. Yeah, that's a nice looking plant stand right there. You have to check the structural soundness of your creations by conducting a wind test. So that's what we'll do right now, and we'll incorporate that into blowing down the project to get all the dust off of there, and I'll clean up the area a little bit too. This is probably the best part, the funnest part of the job. Piece of video where I was blowing down everything with my big leaf blower, but my alarm clock went off and it shut off the video, so we didn't capture that. So I'll have to finish it off with the compressor here, blowing out all the cracks and crevices. Alrighty, so I hope this stain looks all right. We're kind of trying to match existing furniture in the place, and well, we had our friends at Lowe's mix this for us here, and no promises, of course. I can't promise anything. Got a nice little rag here, and now let's see. Let's hit this side first. See how it looks. Brings out the grain. Very nice. Yeah. I see nothing wrong with that at all. Too fast in the sun. I might have to move this indoors. Okay. So that gives us an idea of what we're working with. I'm gonna move this indoors so it doesn't dry so fast in the hot sun. All right, quite a bit cooler in here. So let's see how we do. This right here, you really have to work it and try to get it to blend in. That's not what I wanted. Okay. I didn't really give that glue a chance to set properly, so
Of course, one of the stairs popped off, but that's okay. Go ahead and remove the brads. And we will glue her back into place. All right, go ahead and put a little glue on there. All right. Okay. Well, actually, it looks pretty nice. I'll go ahead and finish up the rest of it without boring you. So let's go ahead and skip to the end. Shazam. Okay, am I fickle? Yes. But am I free to express my opinion and then change my mind? Yes, again. I think that the stain looks great. I kind of had a learning curve with it. It's a little bit different than what I'm accustomed to. But I really do love the way it looks. It's such a deep, rich color. Okay, so here we are, day number 3. We got the stain on. Now we're just gonna take a look at her, see if there's anything that we want to change. One thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back and get some of the stain in the gaps here. Clean those up a little bit. Hit some spots that are lacking a little bit. And yeah, right there, right here. So we'll go ahead and do that. And yeah, okay, so
Can you hook up the other one after
Yep.
you're done?
yes, I will. Okay. Okay, so my father-in-law made this cool little knife right here, Victorous. And he's a genius, made that in 2011. You see how he got that old butter knife and he put a handle on it? The guy's just ingenious, but it says Vilnius on there. That's the capital of Lithuania and where he currently resides. But anyhow, we're gonna use this in this rag to fill in some of those cracks. So we'll see how that goes here. Filling in the cracks. Oh, even that knife is a little bit too thick, so I'll find a skinnier knife. I think I'll grab myself a glove. Okay, we'll try this knife right here, see if it works. I would say this side is done. Looks good. I'll hit the rest and I'll save you the boredom. Let's get a bird's eye view of what we're trying to accomplish here. Like, you see that little spot right there? Boop. There we go. And that little spot right there. Just trying to get in there and make all those white spots go away. Can we do it? Maybe not on all of them, but we can definitely make a difference. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply some of this Helmsman on here. Clear gloss. And nice protectant. Let's see here. Looks pretty good. Got a little bit of fuzz on there. Probably should have wiped that off first. But you know, that's just me sharing a little bit of me. All right. think that's gonna look pretty nice. We'll go ahead and put a couple of coats on here, and then we'll come back and see how it looks a little bit later, okay? Okay, so the last thing I'm gonna do, I've got the polyurethane on there. I'm waiting for it to dry, and I don't want the plant stand to scuff up her floor if she's moving it around. So I've got some of this padding. I'll cut that down, and I'll cut up 4 of these little things here, and we'll put that on the bottom, and that should complete the project. I use Gorilla Glue on these as well, and use the Gorilla Glue, they won't come off.